leadership, and transformational growth. Through this digital platform, Lead with Part, it teaches practical mindset shifts, purpose driven living, and the kind of personal responsibility that helps people lead themselves well before attempting to lead others. Mr. Patrick has served in various leadership roles over the years that shaped his people focused approach to influence and service. His message blends biblical leadership principles with real life application. When he speaks, listeners are challenged toward deeper self awareness, faith anchored perspectives, and a renewed commitment to lead through example and influence. With our happy reactions, I would love us to welcome our first speaker of the day, Mr. Patrick Adeoye. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you for the privilege to spend with you, everyone. Good evening. Sir. Good evening to the host and to everyone present in this meeting. I wasn't around from the beginning, so I most likely have forgotten the name of the person who brought me. Thank you so much, and to every other person present. Okay, I just left my private workspace some few minutes ago, driving home, and I was on my lane and just had this trailer come and came to brush the side of my car and took away my windscreen. Right, just less than few minutes, like just about a few minutes ago. Right? So I'm just getting in now, trying to. I'm not destabilized, I'm fine. But as I was coming, I was just thinking of a lot of things, right? I was thinking of a lot of things that was going through my mind. The scenario, although the guy later came down and started begging. But I was, it has always been my concern on the way road users go about things in Nigeria. But today I was just too, I don't know, probably it's because of the inner voice. We get there. But I was just looking at the person and today I couldn't even do anything. I was like, okay, just go. Just go because they were literally at fault and he knew that. But probably the approach also helped me in that situation. So like it's I don't want to crazy situation, but yeah, maybe just few minutes ago. But it's fine. So and I came in again and I can't find my notes. So it's an interesting evening. We believe it's an interesting evening, but yet you're gonna be very, 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 very loaded with what will change your life. Can you just give some reactions? Yes, if you still believe it's gonna be a powerful evening for you as it were. Can you just see some reactions? Can you still hear me? Can we still hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay, so I said, can I just get some reactions if you believe it's going to be a powerful evening for you? Awesome, 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 awesome. Okay, so for people that are just meeting me for the first time, I am Patrick Adeoye, and that always that have always poured up the thought of self leadership, that have always poured up the thought of speaking about leadership, that has always poured up the thought of like I just want to lead people well, lead myself first, lead people well, and also see, you know, that's gathering or that's where we come to be many as people that lead right, and the way we come to have leaders after the kingdom model. It has always been what I move with from many years ago. It's just starting now. Not just starting now, from many years ago. So if as you're meeting for the first, don't know anything about me, just want to know that okay, fine. He is the person who is always talking about self leadership as it regards the kingdom model, right? And very, very, very much. I am one of the persons you see looking forward to a great country when it comes to Nigeria. You understand? And yeah, we have a lot of people that have started something like this, that have started, wanting to have a want to have people like mine into leadership, kingdom kind of leadership. We have like, you know, Mr. Fetoye and all of that. But what I come to observe is that to cause some kind of change at some point in some society, there are times when you don't need plenty people, but you need a very effective, you know, just somebody causing a very effective change. But in the case of Nigeria, in the case of this where we find ourselves presently, you don't just need one person. We need a lot of persons to have that same main framework that can get things into order. We've had one or two persons go into the different spaces and they couldn't really, they they did their best, right? But yet met a lot of oil goods that didn't really make the work look like they did much, right? But if we really want to see result, if we really want to some of the things we know have effect, then it has to be that we must be many. It has to be that we must be many. So that's one of the that's one of the things that always rings in my head whenever I get to speak with leaders as myself and both young and old, that to really take over some sectors, right? The hold of corruption, the hold of social bias has eaten deep into our community, that it is beyond the work of few persons. We must be many. So right, so that's one of the things I strongly, 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 strongly stand for. And I believe for everyone here, that is also why we are here. Because we want to do better. We want to be better so we can lead ourselves, and that's from that place of leading ourselves, also lead others and not lead them astray. And not lead them astray. So are we still with me? Are we still with me? Any
Yes,
responses?
sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, 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 okay. All right. So yes. All right. So that's like what I stand for. You know always what has always been ringing in my mind. All right. So I'm going to be linking that to why we are here today. I want to really appreciate Titus for this meeting once again. It's a visionary one. Yeah. And I'm meant to speak on the title. I will say topic rather, that says the inner voice of a leader. The inner voice of a leader. The inner voice of a leader.
We cannot hear you anymore, sir. Sir, if you are trying to speak, I think your mic is muted.
Okay. So sorry. So sorry. Okay, so can we hear? Can we,
Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir.
yeah. So sorry. Yeah. Probably due to all of the what's it called now? Evening Bulabalu. Yes. So as I myself already spoke about, I was on the topic I was being given. The inner voice of a leader. Now, let me just go because we don't have that one again. Now, if I define the inner voice of a leader, first of all, you were to have done anatomy, yeah, you would understand that when the word voice is being said, the first thought would be that okay, the sound that comes from the is now that has to do with the pharynx, all of those organs and systems that makes you reject something from your vocal cavity. From the word voice, you have that vocal, right? So you would think of that like sound coming out from inside of you. You understand? When we come to talk about inner voice, now when we come to talk about voice as it concerns our life, as it concerns what we project, because it has more. It has to do with ideas. So when we say the inner of a leader, it to do with internalized beliefs, philosophies, ideas, ethics, values that serves as our guiding compass. When we say your inner voice, they are not just things you just pick from anywhere. You can pick them from anywhere, but you have that they are internalized, right? And there are groups of beliefs, the philosophies, the ethics, the values that makes up who we are as a person. And now, this we're not focused on one part of it. Definitely that. I mean, the inner voice. But since we are focused there on the inner voice of a leader, as it were, we're going to be focusing on what truly makes a good leader, a great leader. So those kind of voices, those kind of philosophies, those kind of framework that makes a great leader. So we might not be talking, probably might be touching about it, yeah. But to be honest with you, fear. When we're talking about even fear is an inner voice. Fear is an inner voice. Lack of confidence that comes from inside out is an inner voice. You understand? But we're going to be focusing on some of those ones that actually make good leader. You understand? So if you're just joining, or you just want me to recap what I said. The inner voice of a leader is, I said, the inner voice of a leader, a set of internalized beliefs, philosophies, ideas, ethics, values that serve as our guiding, or as a leader's guiding compass. You understand? Now, if you check the definition, you get to see that inner as well isn't something that when you were giving birth to became automatic, like you just have something in you that you can use to navigate life's event. Or you would see that we come to it's an aggregation of what happens to us, like what we got by experience, through knowledge, through identity. Can you still hear me? I want to respond. Through identity.
Yes, sir.
All right. So yes, we the inner voice didn't just like you just started thinking of, probably just you were giving birth to, you just grew up and you just started knowing that, okay, fine, I'm meant to do this. I'm not meant to. No, it came before something can come out of you. There is the way we are created is such that it must have been somehow, it must have come into you through any other route, through any kind of route. You might not, if you're able to track it, good for you. If you're unable to track it, it's even dangerous. So voice, first of all, starting from what you're taking in, consciously, unconsciously, non-consciously, subconsciously. These are all psychological words anyway, don't need to worry about that. But through experience, through upbringing, through knowledge, through identity. So some of these beliefs, some of these core values, in when you now get to a point in life where you need someone, or you are faced with some situations, right? Then those things that make you take decisions, right? Even when you're thinking about it, or when you're thinking about it, or when you're not thinking about it, those are your inner voices actually. Very important inner voices. Just like for example, when for example I I've started, I remember I could remember when I was in my first Lautech. And the first time they were calling millions in budget. When I was when I was as a student, there is program they always do, and they project the budget, the financial statement of the church for the year, for the semester, of the fellow. Rather. So, but it didn't really shake me then. I became present. I saw firsthand how we were calculating a couple of not that much in millions anyway, probably 1 million, 2 million, and that just that wait, why is it that you are not even thinking like ah why is it that you're not even thinking like this movie like it's not doing anything to you like you're hearing videos for the first time probably not really you're seeing the figure you're working with the figures for the first time before then I've started earning for myself but not up to that amount, right? So I was seeing the figures, right, with the secretary and all of that. What do you mean like guy, are you going to just can't you just find a way to like I was asking them why are you not thinking that way? And I have an answer. That's when you start we get there. Self-reflection. Self-reflection. That's a very strong word to beat the inner voice. So I was asking myself then, why are you not thinking of such thing? I had my answer. There's no way I would have thought of some such thing. I'm glad that leadership has a very strong system. And that thing is that why would I steal the relationships from you? Mind you, I want I've told him before secondary that is secondary school, right? Yes, we had this group that did all of those bad things. But yet, that was also what made me did that was also an inner voice. But what happened was that the right inner voice, the beliefs, the right values have now come to overshadow what I used to do. They've come to overshadow the wrong beliefs, the wrong value system, the wrong ethics, the wrong inner voices, right? And that thing just didn't look like something I would do normally. I wouldn't do it. So when I got to NYC, but when I went for my youth service then in Abuja, and I was a platoon leader. So we had this contribution, and everybody we had to do some things on the camp. And yes, I was a platoon, and I could see I was my the said then repeatedly. I would see make sure you keep track of this person's contributing. And then it was a history of contributing for all of this carnival. And the person was kind of pushing back like they were saying, why are you so very special about accountability? It's because from my own training and with the inner voice I've come to deal with over time. I just know that accountability, strong one, is part of leadership. And if people must trust you, and if your integrity won't be tinted, then that part of you is already cemented. That it doesn't matter where I am, I want to be transparent enough so that the followers can trust me, right? So that is, and how did that come into place? It came into place because the inner voice that surrounds that situation spoke loud, and it's kind of cemented in my conscious right thing to do. So if I don't using big English to deceive because I like getting things very practical, right? I'm not using big English to deceive ourselves. See, the inner voice are set of philosophies, beliefs you got through knowledge, through experience, through your identity as a believer, right? Or even as a cultural identity, right? Those things that have been cemented to your subconscious. That when you face any kind of situation, those are the things that you use to respond to them or you restrain. You understand? For example, the inner voice of a leader. When what I was saying about my car happened now, right? There was one that happened some few weeks back, and yes, I know what the backup para. I changed it for the person, but then after that time, I wasn't feeling good. I was feeling like, why did you? Even though the person was at fault, but to this own, the other person, the guy that robbed my car, they came out applies immediately. That's the one. That solved anything that would happen to me. Then I saw that there was no way to shout by the roadside. That's an inner voice. Like it's something that just tells you, you know who you are. You can't be shouting here. You can't be shouting here. They've apologized. They've known that they are at fault. Yeah, good. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you, sir.
Okay. I don't understand. It's only the host that is responding. I don't think that's correct. Can we hear me? Other persons here.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
sir. We
Thank you,
can
sir.
hear
Oh
you.
no, Mr. No. Mr. Olatunji's screen should not be responding to any other person that is not the host, is not the anchor, and is not one of the speakers. Okay, until they respond, I don't think we.
We can hear you.
Okay. I think I'll just go with that. Probably other persons. I would like to find it for other persons anyway. Maybe they are on the road. Because I had somebody. I had like kind of on the road sound now.
We
Okay, so
can
let me
hear you,
continue.
sir.
Thank you, ma. Love that. Okay, so this is how inner voices work. Very, very, very simple. So now, how do we get our inner? I mentioned, where do we get our inner voices from? I said your identity. Your identity. As additionally, as believers, we could have that. Not we could have. We also have that additional presence of an inner voice. I really don't do a teachers here, but it's also part of my framework. And anyways, but we have the Holy Ghost in us. We have God Himself in us, right? So now, as
Yes,
a non-believer could have a non-believer would have a book of their inner voices. What speaks to them from within? They would have it from philosophies, from knowledge, from experiences, from whatever, from cultural identities. But as believers, yes, we have those too. We have those two. Then in addition, which is even the primary actually, not in addition, the primary. The other ones are additions. The primary, because it sprouts from the creator and it is based on our identity. It is the voice of the spirit. So now just imagine that you're in a situation where your culture, because now that's a very powerful one. Now that's why I said it is the primary. If you're a Muslim, you're here, just listen. It is still what I'm teaching, still for the quest for everyone. It's still the same thing. Now, for example, where I grew up is in barracks. Whenever anybody challenges us, whenever anybody does anything that is wrong to us, what the cultural, what you are known for as a barrack boy, what you are known for, if you don't want to look weak, is such that you respond violently. Don't waste time. Now, that is a cultural identity that's known. Like, and what happens is that identity ingrains in you a framework for violence, like an idea for violence, a a a combative philosophy, right? So, but now as a believer and also a barrack boy, when I come into a situation that warrants that somebody get on my nerves on something, now the primary voice as a leader, as a believer, is such that I listen to the inner voice, which is the voice of the spirit. With the voice of that boy mouth, it will most likely, because that was who you brought up most of your life. But with the voice of the spirit to come out, yes, it will. But now that is where we're getting there soon. But that is where you come to really show if you're a leader that actually wants a space of transformation. Now, which one would you listen to? That is the voice that is to use your sense. That is the voice of the spirit. There's no way it's going to. We know. There's no way it's going to tell you throw punch. If I have not even throw spiritual punch, you want to bite by the roadside. Hmm?
mm,
It's not throw spiritual punch. You didn't do quiet time this morning, and now you want to bite by the. Do you understand? Now those are those are practical stuff. You understand? Those are practical stuff. So it is not just having the inner voices now. A lot of us read the Bible. You can attest to me. You can attest to what I'm about to say. That even after church, even after service, there are times when things happen and they make you go against what you are just being taught. Right? It happens, right? They make you against. They said use your words wisely, and the first thing the bike man does to you, and I said, then you change it for the bike man. You abuse him. Now, that is not because you don't have the right inner voice. Now, I'm talking about projecting the right voices now. That is not because you don't have the right inner voice, but because you have not cultivated, your mind to be so used to that inner voice that it becomes an auto suggestion. We call something an auto suggestion, and it comes by usage. It comes by usage. It comes by usage. It comes by practice. It comes by doing things over and over again. How do you get accustomed to lie, to telling lies? You get accustomed to telling lies by telling lies. By telling lies over and over
Yeah.
again. It's you get accustomed to telling lies over and over again. So if you think that the things that are on the good side will be automatic, it's a lie. It's a lie. See, if you check people that have turned down huge amount of money, see, most times, according to history, they didn't just they didn't just turn down those money. They are people that have also been turning down little amount of money, or that have always stood for the truth and are not ready to compromise. So by the time they get to that place where they kind of see more this more they kind of see more avenue to do even more evil, then they say to themselves, no, like it becomes an auto suggestion. The mind will tell them, will come to the brain and tell them, this is what you used to do when you are in this situation. You say no, you don't agree. You say no, you don't take it. So another way to cultivate the right inner voice is by self-reflection. Self-reflection. If you ask yourself, why did I do what I did? Where did I learn it from? I do that a lot. Where did I learn this thing from? Why did I do it? When you are able to track effectively what what brought about an idea in your mind, then you are able to know if I should stay with this idea, or I should throw this away. For example, you know that what is not to do violence. You know that, okay, I got this. I was taught in Sunday school many years ago. Then I studied, right. I got it from the Word of God. So you know quite all right that this is from my identity in Christ. This is from what the Bible teaches in Galatians. This is from what the Bible teaches about love. You know, you know. There's a bad behavior I learned, and I did it until almost like when I get married. And I used to ask myself, where did you learn this thing from? And I have my answer. I asked myself that question even before now, before I had the knowledge of that is a good thing. And it was for boarding school. When guys will come around and do nonsense and do all of that from boarding school. So now, okay, fine. I'm not that I'm not in touch with those kind of friends again. Fine. So now start working on how to get away that nonsense behavior. So by the time you are able to track, that is where this is what I have done, and it has brought about the presence of a kind of voice in me, right? Then you are able to do away with it. So self-reflection is very important when it comes to responding to the inner voice in you. Self-reflection is one of the ways to cultivate your inner voice such that it becomes an auto suggestion. It is auto suggestive when you need it. Now, another way to also cultivate the inner voice. Now, when I'm talking, I mentioned already, I'm talking about the inner voice. I mean, you know, your, I mean, first of all, on the part of the spirit as a spiritual being, then also from the philosophy, the belief, the things that you know. Now, the second one I would mention, there are a lot of them actually, how to cultivate your inner voice, there are a lot of them. But the second one I'm going to mention is take responsibility. See, the best way to learn is to do. The best way to learn is to do. See, you are forced more when you are under pressure than when you are in your comfort zone. Can you hear me?
So
Yes,
So you are forced more when you are in pressure, when you are, when you're taking responsibility, you are in the midst of something that kind of presses you a bit than when you're just in your comfort zone doing nothing. To be honest, and to be very honest, Man was not created to be in their comfort zone. Man, at the same time, man isn't created to suffer. Don't get me wrong. But because of the way the life has been, because of that are going wrong, then you know that if you are a man created in his kingdom and you have his man, if he says go into the world, Matthew 20 already answered on give us. If we say go into the go ye into the world. So please, why is that comfort zone? Don't you know what's happening in the world? He said it. He said you're going to face tribulations, right? Right? But the only consolation that I have is that repent, and that consolation is enough. So I don't understand why we now come and we want to make change, but we want to be in our comfort zone. Like we want to make, no, no. So one of the ways to cultivate the inner voice such that you take responsibility in your small way, you take responsibility. You take responsibility. So when you are, and this is how it works. So when you are in the midst of taking responsibility, you are in the midst of doing this, doing that, doing this, doing that. That is when you begin to see how you respond to things. And now you'll be able to try, okay, just like self-reflection. This response I gave, where did it come from? Where did it come from? But if you are just in your purpose doing nothing, there's no way you are going to know this situation, right? There's no way you're going to know. There's no way you're going to know. Now, some of us have not even been in a situation where we are being challenged in anything. That being this right, this is meant to be. So you don't know if you can say that okay, I take for it, or you don't even know if you can be like, oh, they don't talk to me at home. Eh? You don't get because stop in those positions. It's always easy to talk you have not been to. Like I mean, because responsibility. Like I like there's I've forgotten who said this, but he said critics can drive the critics know the how did they say it? Okay, critics know the destination, critics know the way, but they cannot drive the car. They know the way. Like they can use their mouth to tell you where you are going to, but they can't drive the car. I it's not just to pass here and
Mm,
pass here and pass here and pass here.
mm.
They're not
It's
driving it well. You come and drive. Come and
it's
drive. So how do you as a person get connected now is more drive the car, do the thing. By the time you do you figure out this is where I reacted contrary to what my real una voice should be. This is where I reacted contrary to what the Spirit is telling me. And this is why I reacted. This is where I went with, I, this is where I flowed with the trends that I've been seeing subconsciously on the brain. I didn't know it. It has become voice inside of me. So when I did that thing, I used what I've been on Twitter, not what the word God says I should do. But if you don't take responsibility, you're not going to see that. You take responsibility. It helps you cultivate the voice, right? Yeah. Another thing I thought it is your know what informs your decision and intentions. Just like where I said now that this guy just brought my windscreen and all of that now. Now, one of the things that happened there was a decision not to para and come home, right? But because it's part of taking responsibility, I went to work, I went to my office, right? So I could have sat down at home. I would not, I might not have gone through that. I'll be like, okay, when day I go through it, then I will see my real behavior. So and that was solitude, mentorship, prayer, reading, solitude. You want to cultivate your inner voice. I was listening to former President Obasanjo at the time. Please, Mr. Titus, I would love to know the timing in my box, right, please? I would love to know the timing. Thank you so much, sir. All right, so I was listening to I was listening to former President Obasanjo at some point, and he said one of the things he liked being a lot when he was president, I was a leader, that loves somewhere be alone and just reflect. He said it in a way that reflection is very important as a leader. I mentioned self-reflection. I'm talking about solitude. See, I'm looking for a better way to put it. And it's such that if you find it hard to stay alone, if you find it hard to stay alone and do important things that helps your growth, if you find it hard to stay alone and do important things that helps your growth, you are not worthy to lead anybody. And indication that you can't lead yourself. Any that's always more and always in a crowded place, they don't have any serious going on for them. Like they cannot separate themselves for some time to think, to write, to do certain things that will help their growth. Listen to God, right? They are not ready for any serious work. Please get me right. I, I've been seeing I've seen people, it's not new anyway, but I've seen people say they are on solitude and please get things the other side. Where people say they are in
mm,
solitude for 5 years. That God is not sending you. You are in Adulam. Where's Adulam? You're in Adulam for 5 years that God did not send you. Where and people hide these things under the cover of no self-esteem, being afraid to step out, not wanting to take responsibilities. Now that is the other side of this solitude now, and people just grow into their shell. They don't want to come out. They don't want to no visibility. You want something. You want to immediate corruption. Whether in solitude 5 years. That, I'm decent like one decent.
mm.
So yeah, things like where are you? I'm in Adulam. I'm in Adulam. No, no. You have been called to go. And now, please get me. I love listening to instruction. Some can have some of these dealings. It's not something that becomes like a mentality. Everybody's going to Adulam. You know what Adulam? Everybody's going to Adulam. If you don't understand what happened in Adulam, you know you are in Adulam. If you understand what happened in that scenario, this is not not yes, but go to solitude. Go into solitude as a leader to reflect, to think, to retreat. And not just for spiritual sake alone. You read books, you write, you're able to do what part of your life. You understand? It gives you that kind of sanity to when you check what's happening in your life, you're able to track where am I really, improving, where am I not improving. So please note this. I didn't say you should not go to Adulam. It depends on what you call it, right? But what I mean is some people have taken it to the extreme such that rather than doing what they are asked to do by God, rather than stepping out because they have been up the mindset of fear, right? Now they are not an excuse, a spiritual excuse to hide that thing such that they don't want to step out. But when you ask them, what are you up to? I'm waiting on the Lord. Lord that have asked you to go, you are waiting on him. Lord that is moving.
Mm.
You understand? So solitude is important.
So,
And I said, mentorship helps you cultivate your inner voice. You listen to the right things. So what happens when you listen to the right persons? You listen to the right things, it deposits the right belief system, the right frameworks into you, right? Deposit it into you. And whenever you are faced with situations and conditions, and you deposit them into you, you are able to ruminate on them, practice them over time. So when you come in face to some challenges and all of that, now you are able to auto-suggestively bring out those things. Bring out those things. You know, your voice won't tell you, I want to, can I talk? Can I? It just comes because it's something you have been used to. That's why it is very important. Prayer is very important because it gives you that heightened consciousness of what is being said in the spirit, of what the spirit is saying, right? And so it is something that becomes your second, your nature, your nature, yes, that you are able to play it out as it were. Good, right? So So yes, take responsibility, solitude, mentorship, prayer. Let me check. Oh, oh, awesome. Okay, okay, okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you, I got that. Okay, yeah. So then why do we need to do all of this? See, summary. The world needs better leaders. And when I say better leaders, I mean the kingdom-minded kind of leaders. Better is the kingdom-minded kind of leaders. I'm not saying people that are more passionate. No, no, no. The kingdom-minded kind of leaders. Out of God. It's not. We are not talking about leaders that killings are happening. And it starts from now. It starts from how you really, it starts from how you take some of these small assignments. For me, no assignment always small anyway. How, but we know by how people see things, assignment has big more. But it starts from how you feel when one of your executives eats their, how you behave when somebody around you, there's hot water pot in their body, or some you send somebody something and probably probably you're in the kitchen with somebody and something dropped from their hand and the person you're asking is hope it did not break my plate. Like that is where all these things start from. Oh. And that is where people that become president now and they are beheading people in your country and you're still wanting there's no speech, there is nothing to calm the people down. So my own mental framework is such that there is no how you want to play politics. If love, if love is not the basis of your leadership and servant leadership, you play rubbish. You never hear anything politics from anyone to kingdom service. Anyway. But if you want to go there, you have to learn the game anyway. But like you get my point. My point is those kingdom those kingdom frameworks must be in play from the scratch. Keep practicing it so that when we get there, we're able to put the right things in place. So we need kingdom leaders, the right mindset. We don't just need leaders. No, we need leaders that are. Why do we need kingdom leaders? Because the king of the kingdom, which is God, right? The king of the kingdom, which is God, creates every man. So he has the best model of leadership anybody can get from anywhere. So if we now make him the primary source of our inner voices, the values, the kingdom ethics, the kingdom philosophies, then we learn the other ones we should learn. Then we will be just as he wants us to be. Even though we are it in the spirit, these things we find expression in the physical. So the inner voice of a leader, self-reflection, pay attention to metacognition, pay attention to how you are thinking. Think of how you are thinking. Where is this thing coming from? Your primary source of your identity should be the primary source of what comes out of you, first of all. Then learn from the right persons. Learn from the right persons. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I want to believe we've been able to get something. So we started late, right? But I want to believe we've been able to get something for this session. Once again, I
Yes,
appreciate the privilege and let's get out there in our little way and start doing something that actually changes the perception of leadership, that actually changes
mm,
how the world should look like. We are always doing something towards purpose. If you are not contributing to the movement of God's kind of world, then you are just there. You are just existing. You are not living. So let's live.
mm.
Thank you.